Good afternoon and welcome to the last episode of NMH at 1 this 2023. This is a show that highlights the news making waves ranging from current affairs, community stories, sports and economic news. For the last time this year, here are the headlines. Ongwediva Town Council electrifies 151 households. Namibia Breweries Limited pulls advert which sparked outrage amongst some Namibians. And Texas gives police broader powers to arrest migrants. I am Diana Master. After the break, we get into our newspaper review segment.
Welcome to My.NA Cars, your ultimate destination for everything automotive.
I am your host, Diana Master.
Teamwork makes the dream work, right?
Discover the latest models, innovative technologies, and expert insights from our passionate hosts. Learn essential maintenance tips and get exclusive behind-the-scenes access to the automotive industry. Don't miss My.NA Cars on NTV every Thursday at 2100 hours. Tune in and ignite your passion for automobiles.
Let's take a look at what the lead stories are in Namibia's daily newspapers. Starting us off on the Namibian Sun front page, Namibia Breweries Limited yesterday acted swiftly to pull a Tafel Lager advert, which sparked outrage among some Namibians who charged that it fed stereotypes about Nama people's drinking habits. The advertisement shows a man dressed in Nama attire with a beer in his hand, captioned, "Join the Tafel tribe." Sima Lupert, an activist for reparation for the Nama and Overherero genocide, said willful ignorance is used to entrench marginalization. Others called for an official apology, saying the caption "Join the Tafel tribe" can be interpreted as the tribe that drinks the most. On Facebook, Sharon Marcus said they still want an apology even after the advertisement's removal. On the paper's page 3, it outlines who the winners and losers of 2023 are, listing Justice Minister Yvonne Dalsab among the winners as having potential to reform the country's laws, adding that her ministry has been able to pass 13 bills this year. Among the listed winners, Karl Schlettwein, Agriculture Minister, is celebrated for progress in providing water to many communities. Moving over to the Republican, Namibian German artist, designer, publisher and director Max Siedenthoff has been awarded a prestigious Emmy Award for directing an outstanding promotional announcement for the Nickelodeon brand campaign. Among other things, Max is known for his installation Toto Forever, which was set up in the Namib Desert and consists of a ring of large white blocks on which 6 loudspeakers are placed. The loudspeakers are connected to a solar-powered MP3 player that is set up in such a way that it plays the hit Africa by the American group Toto without any interruption. Where the installation is, however, is a secret. To get everyone in the Christmas spirit, Distribution Hub Namibia DHN embarked on a heartfelt mission this month. By delivering gifts to children all over the country, the team aimed to weave a tapestry of hope throughout the expansive Namibian landscape. As the DHN team nestled in their beds, dreams of joy and shared hope danced vividly in their minds, anticipating a canvas waiting to be painted with the magic of the season, proudly sponsored by Pick n Pay and in association with Synergy Namibia. Moving over to the Algemeine Zeitung's front page, a boy who has had his main residence with his mother in South Africa since 2018 must now temporarily live with his father in Namibia following a temporary court order. However, this contradicts a report by a social worker who had investigated the circumstances. That is what Algemeine Zeitung in today's publication is opening with on its front page. In the court case between the two parents over the custody of their 8-year-old son, the court ruled this week that the boy's main residence must be moved from his home with his mother and half-brother in South Africa to his father in Windhoek. The ruling was in stark contrast to the report of a senior social worker who had recommended that the boy should remain with his mother. The paper's page 2 reports that electric bicycles for small deliveries are becoming increasingly common in Namibia. In Windhoek, e-bikes can now be rented by the hour or even by the day in the city centre. They are now new models that are ideal for rural villages, farmers and tourist lodges. They have a small electric motor with a battery and thick puncture-proof tyres. The first solar-powered e-bikes were introduced in Namibia in 2015. Moving over to the Namibian newspaper, it reports that President Hage Geingob has reduced his international trips by 44% from 74 days last year to 41 days this year, reducing his potential subsistence and travel allowance to around 715,000 Namibian dollars. The president's biggest S&T source is 210,200 Namibian dollars from his 11-day stay in New York and 14-day stay in Dubai, which qualifies him for around 290,000 Namibian dollars for the 13 days in the United Arab Emirates. Walvis Bay mother Magdalena Sorosis is heartbroken after she lost a 27-year-old son, Rishiwirio Boke Soroseb, who was killed at the town on 12 December in an alleged case of mistaken identity, reports the paper's page 3. On New Era's front page, hordes of minor children who are allegedly smuggled into Namibia to take up jobs as street vendors in Windhoek are finding it hard to survive and are now pleading with authorities to come to their aid. These minors are usually spotted at shopping malls across Windhoek selling wooden products. The paper's page 3 reports the Namibian fishing industry maintained its status as the third largest contributor to the nation's gross domestic product in 2023, setting an example for responsible resources management globally. However, amidst its notable successes, the industry grappled with formidable challenges which demanded strategic resilience. Illegal, unreported and unregulated fishing persisted as a perennial issue, challenging the country's commitment to sustainable practices. Moving over to Market Watch, in the past quarter compared to the same period in 2022, in contrast, the wholesale and retail trade sector witnessed a decline, with employment dropping by 0.8% year-on-year. The downturn in the wholesale and retail trade sector was particularly pronounced in clothing and vehicle subsectors, the Bank of Namibia said. On a quarterly basis, after the break, we get into our economic news. Stay tuned.
Welcome to What's Cooking, where culinary passion meets expert insights.
Somebody must really want to cook and want to cook good food.
Immerse yourself in the bustling world of professional kitchens as top chefs create mouth-watering dishes. Join us for in-depth interviews as our host explores the experiences and expertise of our guest chefs. Don't miss out. Tune in to What's Cooking on NTV every Friday at 2100 hours and let the culinary adventure begin.
In economic news this afternoon, the Yongwadiva Town Council electrified 151 households in the Sky Phase 3 location on Wednesday. Residents said they were increasingly falling prey to criminals who took advantage of the cover of darkness, adding that the electrification will help the township a great deal. Philippa Singidipo, who spoke on behalf of the residents, applauded the council and said they will now be able to conduct business even after the sun has gone down, while those whose operations need freezers will now flourish. Ngidipo told Management Committee Chairperson Fabian George that they need council to bring sewer reticulation to their area next. Ongwadiva Mayor Tara Shaliefu said implementing priority projects ensures they pursue the collective vision of being a leading urban centre in Namibia that is built on quality municipal services and promotes a sustainable economic development. The project kicked off on 11 August and was completed on the 12th of December to the tune of $4.1 million Namibian dollars. In July, Urban and Rural Development Minister Erastus Sutoni inaugurated 2 sewer projects in Sky Phase 1 and Extension 15. Let's take a look at the economic indicators. The Namibian dollar trades at 23.23 to the British pound, 20.17 to the euro, 18.35 to the US dollar, and 2 Namibian dollars and 57 cents buys you 1 Chinese yuan. Capricorn Investment Group Limited stocks took a dip of 0.30%, while the rest maintained. Local index closed on a downturn of 0.05%, while overall index closed on an upturn of 0.68%. Looking at commodities, all commodities are up save for copper, which took a dip of 0.32%, now trading at $3.87 per pound. Angola said it would leave OPEC in a blow to the Saudi-led oil producer group that has sought in recent months to rally support for further output cuts to prop up oil prices. An update on this and other news from the African continent coming up after the break.
Hello and welcome to today's Sports Rep Show.
I am your host, Jesse Jackson Kauraifa. In replay, Namibia, who had won the toss for the first time on this tour.
Good day everyone, time for international sports news, starting off with tennis news, both on the WTA for women's and
We now expand beyond Namibia's borders to give you the latest news from the African continent here on NMH at 1. Angola said on Thursday it would leave OPEC in a blow to the Saudi-led oil producer group that has sought in recent months to rally support for further output cuts to prop up oil prices. Angola's oil minister Diamantino Azevedo said the organization of the petroleum exporting countries no longer served the country's interests. It joins other mid-sized producers Ecuador and Qatar that have left OPEC in the last decade. We feel that Angola currently gains nothing by remaining in the organization and, in defense of its interests, decided to leave, Azevedo was quoted as saying in a presidency statement. International oil prices dropped by as much as 2.4% on Thursday, as analysts said the departure raised questions about the unity of OPEC and OPEC Plus, the wider group that includes Russia and other OPEC allies. OPEC Plus implements a new round of oil output cuts from January to try to strengthen the market. Angola's announced departure follows a protest from Angola about OPEC Plus's decision to cut its output quota for 2024. The dispute helped to delay OPEC Plus's last policy meeting in November and its agreement on new output curbs. Nigeria is another African OPEC member that has been trying to boost output and has been struggling to meet its quota. In our next story, France has decided to close its embassy in Niger, where it is no longer able to function normally or carry out its missions, according to diplomatic sources definitively confirming a split between the two countries. This extremely rare measure comes after Niamey announced on December 12th the departure of all French soldiers deployed in Niger as part of the anti-jihadist efforts by December 22, which is this Friday. This marks the culmination of strained relations between France and Niger since the generals took power in Niamey during a coup on July 26th. In Mali and Burkina Faso, where military regimes also expelled the French army in recent years after coups, France maintained its diplomatic representations despite strong tensions with these countries, which have aligned themselves with Russia, as Niamey seems to be doing. 4 French officials described as intelligence agents by a Burkinabe source and IT maintenance technicians, according to a French diplomatic source, were arrested in Ouagadougou in early December, but the dispute seemed insurmountable in Niger. The French embassy in Niger is therefore no longer able to function normally or carry out its missions. Acknowledging the situation, we have decided to close our embassy soon and in this context proceed with the dismissal and compensation of our local staff, they continued. Stick around after the break, we bring you international news from the rest of the globe.
Welcome to My.NA Cars, your ultimate destination for everything automotive.
I am your host, Diana Master.
Teamwork makes the dream work, right?
Discover the latest models, innovative technologies, and expert insights from our passionate hosts. Learn essential maintenance tips and get exclusive behind-the-scenes access to the automotive industry. Don't miss My.NA Cars on NTV every Thursday at 2100 hours. Tune in and ignite your passion for automobiles.
Starting off our international news this afternoon, while sailing roughly 200 kilometers off Denmark's west coast and roughly 330 kilometers off Britain's east coast, strong winds blasted windows on the bridge of the vessel, allowing water to enter and resulting in a power failure on the bridge, the centre said. The ship, which belongs to cruise company HX, a unit of Norway's Hurtigruten Group, left Floro in Norway on Thursday and was due to arrive in Tilbury in the UK on Friday. At this time, the ship has confirmed that no serious passenger or crew injuries have been sustained as a result of the incident, and the condition of the ship remains stable, it said. A towage vessel from the civil rescue company Eswacht was scheduled to arrive at the ship around 10:30 p.m. GMT. The ship is currently being steered manually from the engine room but cannot navigate. Eswacht support vessels had arrived to help the ship navigate until the ship could be towed to port. The area was hit by a storm late on Thursday, with hurricane-force gusts blowing from the northwest that were forecast to continue on Friday, the Danish Meteorological Institute said. In our next story, before settling in New York City like thousands of other migrants this year, Abdul from Mauritania in West Africa took an unexpected detour several days in a remote Texas jail on trespassing charges for crossing the US-Mexico border. He fled his native country, where he says his life was in danger for protesting against the government. 2 years into Texas's multi-billion-dollar border security plan, Operation Lone Star, the implementation of the program remains a confusing process with little accountability. According to the data obtained by the Associated Press, over 12,500 people have been apprehended through the initiative between the summer of 2021 and October 2023. The initiative has cost nearly $10 billion and has also included busing thousands of immigrants across the country, funding more border barriers, and deploying thousands of officers. However, there is little evidence the program is deterring immigration. Starting in March, Texas will give police even broader powers to arrest migrants, while also allowing local judges to order them out of the country under a bill signed Monday by Republican Governor Greg Abbott. The law is the most dramatic attempt by a state to police immigration since a 2010 Arizona law, rebuked by opponents as a Show Me Your Papers bill that was partially struck down by the U.S. Supreme Court. Stick around, news from the world of sport follows right after this break.
Hello and welcome to today's Sports Rep Show.
I am your host, Jesse Jackson Kauraifa. In replay, Namibia, who had won the toss for the first time on this tour.
Good day everyone, time for international sports news, starting off with tennis news, both on the WTA for women's and
Getting straight into our local sports news, chess players who participated in the recently concluded Bank Windhoek at Beekers Legacy Tournament in Swakopmund said the game helps build confidence, develop problem-solving skills, and is an educational tool. The winner of the Open Tournament, Jemba Yamusa, said chess is like any other subject in school. When we play chess, we're quiet so that we can concentrate on communicating with the pieces. When you start to control all the pieces, that is the beginning of playing chess. It is like teamwork combined with art and education, he said. The MTC Nesta Sunshine Tobias Boxing and Fitness Academy's last event of the year, together as one Part 11, was a true testament to the strength, power and determination of women in the sport, boxing promoter Nesta Tobias said. He added that it was inspiring to see such fierce competitors in the ring, and it's clear that the future of women's boxing is bright. With the right support and encouragement, the women's division will continue to grow and thrive, he added. The captain and flanker Prince Gauseb is one of the 3 Namibians in the starting team of the Tel Aviv Heat, who will face the Georgian franchise Black Lion today in Tbilisi in the final of the Rugby Europe Super Cup Teenager. Max Kashisheko and Gezun Muton are the other 2 Namibians in the starting team for the final, which kicked off at 1 p.m. Namibian time. After the break, we bring you international sports news. Stay tuned.
Welcome to What's Cooking, where culinary passion meets expert insights.
Somebody must really want to cook and want to cook good food.
Immerse yourself in the bustling world of professional kitchens as top chefs create mouth-watering dishes. Join us for in-depth interviews as our host explores the experiences and expertise of our guest chefs. Don't miss out. Tune in to What's Cooking on NTV every Friday at 2100 hours and let the culinary adventure begin.
In international sports news this afternoon, Sanju Samson's first century for India set up a commanding total of 296 for 8 and led to a comfortable series-winning 78-run victory in the third one-day international against South Africa at Boland Park in Paarl on Thursday. Samson adopted a cautious approach but finished with an excellent 108 from 114 balls before South Africa were dismissed for 218 in 45.5 overs, despite a fine 81 from opener Tony Dezorzi following his match-winning 119 in the second match of the series 2 days earlier. Lucas Vazquez sent 10-man Real Madrid to the top of La Liga with a 92nd minute winner in Thursday's 1-0 victory at Alaves. Defender Vazquez headed home to lift Madrid above Girona in the number 1 spot after the season's surprise packages were held to a 1-1 draw at Real Betis earlier in the day. Basque host Alaves frustrated Madrid even before the Spanish Giants defender Nacho Fernandez was sent off 10 minutes after the break. With the clock going into the second second half injury time, it looked like Girona would lead the Spanish top flight going into 2024 thanks to Madrid's draw, but 32-year-old Vasquez had other plans. Thursday's ruling by the European Court of Justice appears unlikely to lead to any changes to the footballing landscape on the continent in the near future after leagues, clubs, player representatives and fan groups immediately reiterated their opposition to any proposed Super League. The ruling by Europe's top court found that UEFA, European football's governing body, as well as world body FIFA, had been abusing a dominant position by submitting any new competitions to their prior approval. Trying to prohibit clubs and players from taking part in those competitions was unlawful, the ECJ said. If you're just joining us, this is NMH at 1, and we'll get into the highlights from today's broadcast right after the Weekend Gig Guide.
Hello Namibia, welcome to another exciting edition of the Weekend Gig Guide, a segment here on NMH at 1, where we get to give you guys some of the events that are taking place over the weekend. To start with, you can catch That Is Chill sessions tonight on Namibian Sun's Facebook page. That is a countdown of the top 5 music videos for the year that we have had in 2023, courtesy of Namibian musicians. Moving along with another event you can expect this weekend, if you are still in Windhoek and haven't left for, either the coast, the south, the north, or wherever you are from, you can expect to catch that is the disco party taking place at Wolf Shack today, Friday. Gates open at 1900 hours and you get to have, the time of your life. Another event you can expect to, catch if you happen to be in the northern eastern part of the country, you can expect to check out that is Your Maps from Zambia. He will be performing in Rundu at the Waterfront Festival today, the 22nd of December. So if you're a fan of Zambian music, Your Maps to be specific, and you happen to be in Rundu, make sure that you go to Rundu Beach and catch his performance. That's all I had for you for today. Until next time, it's goodbye.
Hello and welcome to today's Sports Rep Show.
I am your host, Jesse Jackson Kauraifa. In replay, Namibia, who had won the toss for the first time on this tour.
Good day everyone, time for international sports news, starting off with tennis news, both on the WTA for women's and
You're watching NMH at 1, and if you're just joining us, here are the news highlights from today's broadcast. Angola said on Thursday it would leave OPEC in a blow to the Saudi-led oil producer group that has sought in recent months to rally support for further output cuts to prop up oil prices. While sailing roughly 200 kilometers off Denmark's west coast and roughly 330 kilometers off Britain's east coast, strong winds blasted windows on the bridge of a vessel, allowing water to enter and resulting in a power failure on the bridge, the centre said. The MTC Nesta Sunshine Tobias Boxing and Fitness Academy's last event of the year, together as One Part 11, was a true testament to the strength, power and determination of women in the sport, boxing promoter Nesta Tobias said. Those have been your highlights. Remember to tune in every weekday from the 8th of January 2024 at 1 p.m. to spend your lunch hour with NMH at 1, catching up on the latest news in Namibia and beyond. From all of us here in studio, we do wish you a Merry Christmas and a prosperous New Year. I am Diana Master.